from Yosemite. I'll ask you for the specific town or city that you were in, just so I can reflect this accurately in my logbook. You're like a toolbox.
Here on this band, and I think this is maybe at this time, this must be the best, maybe it's the best band to talk to from Brazil to the North America. Yeah, the problem is that there are not so many people working on this band on STE.
Hello, this is Wayne with Normal Prepping. Today I'd like to go over some of the reasons you may want to use a radio or ham radio for prepping. Also, the types of radios that you may want to choose. And finally, whether or not you need a license and what type of license you may need with the radio that you use. So let's go to the house, leave my ham shack here, and we will go over our radios. Hello, this is Wayne and Belinda with Normal Prepping. Today we're going to go over probably the most requested video that we've had. A lot of people are asking for this, and believe it or not, this will be my third try doing this video. I have a problem with going deep in the weeds because we're talking about ham radios, and I get way too deep. The last one I did almost was an hour after hours of editing, and I was bored watching it. So I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, and I'm doing this in steps. There are three types of radios. You have your FSR radio, which is the family service radios, the GMRS radio, which is the general mobile radio service, and then of course the ham radio, as you saw in the introduction. That is the full-blown ham. What I'm gonna say here and get to is probably not going to be popular with other ham radio operators, because I am looking at this completely from the eyes of a prepper, and not from a ham. We definitely don't always see the same, and I get caught up in that myself. I'm sure you've been told you need a ham radio. You have to have a ham radio. If you're going to be a prepper, you have to have a ham radio. You have to have a BALFung. Well,
what's a BALFung?
A BALFung is this is the type of radio. I'm sure you've seen this. They are capable of doing all three of those: the FSR, GMRS, and ham radio. But the thing is that they're very complicated. They're not, you just can't get them out of the box and rock and roll. They're also easy to do things that are in turn illegal according to the FCC.
Okay.
So what I'm recommending is, and that's why she's here, to keep me out of the weeds.
Keep you on track.
Keep me on track, because I have a feeling I can go bad. I can get really dark here. I get deep. What I recommend, and I'm not gonna drag this on too much, but I'm going to go into the reasons. You'll want to watch the whole thing to really understand, and then for the lead in and what to do next. But I recommend, as a prepper, the first thing to do is simply get the FSR radios. They are also known as the kiddie radios. They're the ones that you can give your kids those and they play with. Those ones aren't quite as good.
This is a good one.
Yeah, this is a good one. There's two brands that I like. The Cobra, if I can get that in a good shot. The Cobra, and of course I have a link to this in the description. And then the Motorola, which I don't have. The Motorola's are usually a little bit smaller, and they're kind of nice. They're also yellow and bright, which I kind of like. This whole black and camouflage thing I'm not a big fan of, simply because you lose it.
Yeah, you could drop it at nighttime.
Yeah. So these radios, what's really nice about that is right now you can just go to the store, go online, go to one of my links, and you can buy one of these and you're good to go.
Do they come in sets?
Yes, they do come in
Okay.
sets, and you know, they have chargers, and some of them you can just plug in or change the batteries. They have rechargeable batteries. I think the one on that I have linked doesn't have a charger on it. I'm not sure. I think it's just the kind you can switch out. You can have rechargeable batteries in it.
That's good.
But yeah, so they're really easy. This one's a little more complicated, has some directions. But what the nice thing about this is you just pick a channel and you say, like, we're going to be on channel 12. So we'll both be on 12. There's no frequencies. There's none of that to deal with. You just go on here and turn it on. And see right here, we're on channel 6.
So you make sure both radios or walkie-talkies are on channel 6 so you can talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple.
And then it'll also scan. So that way, what's nice about this, and that's one thing I like about these, is that they are popular. If you go to a mall, if you go to the fair, and you have one of these, you'll hear a lot of people using them. And that is because they're easy, they're cheap compared to like a real ham radio, and kids have them. Everybody has them. So what I like about this, one of the first things I like about this second thing I like about for prepping, is the fact that there's a lot of people that have these. Less people have ham radios. I mean, have the GMSR, and even less have ham radios. So if, say you're out there and your neighbors, the odds of somebody else having one of these is pretty good. If you even go out in the woods, sometimes you'll hear people that are fishing and hunting and stuff, and they'll be talking on these.
So if you want to check to see if somebody's on a frequency that you can listen to, do you just turn to all the channels and talk?
No, what you do is you just you have it do the scan.
Oh, okay.
And then the scan, what happens is when it scans, it'll stop. If it hears a voice, on here, it'll just stop and go and stick on that channel. A lot of times there's a little bit of a lag. It's like a 3-second. You just look at it real quick and you say, okay, there's somebody on channel 16. Let's see if they know what's going on. If there's a road out. So then you go there and you ask, and there's no lingo needed with these either. You don't just talk. You just talk like you do on a telephone. Hey, Jim.
So basically what you would do is go to your channel 16 and then go on there and say, hey, can anyone hear me?
Basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. And you don't have to get a license. You don't have to pay for a license. And that's one thing. See, and I'm going to go into this, further with the GMRS, but these have a lot of advantages. And another thing that I like about these radios is that they also have the weather, gets that weather broadcasting, that guy's voice that tells you what the weather is. So that's the NOAA weather, I believe it's called. So you get that. So in a storm, you can, if you're anywhere close to,
a tornado or something. Yeah. You could at least listen to see, hey, what's coming.
Yeah. And they say they get, like, I think on the packaging, it says quite a few miles. Perfect situation. But these aren't bad. And one thing you have to make sure you do is get familiar with it. Yeah. The last thing you want to do is in the middle of an emergency say, hey man, how does this thing work? Do you got the manual? Where's the manual? You want to play with it. Even just use it day to day. If somebody's just, around the house, start talking to each other.
Yeah, he'll go out and do yard work because we have a little bit of property. And he takes his radio, puts that one in front of me and says, hey, call me if you need me.
Yeah, exactly.
Just so, we have cell phones, but it's actually pretty fun to use a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, and also check your limits. When you get one of these, start driving away and just,
and say, hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, definitely do that. And they also have, I found a waterproof version, which I wish I would have known when I was buying mine, because they have a waterproof version of this. I also put in a link, which I think is, considering why we're buying these, is pretty handy. Most of them are pretty water resistant. And then I'll go, let me get back to the BALFung. Okay, these are the ones you see in every prepper video you ever watch. This is the first radio that I ever had. It works great for me. I loved it as a ham. They recommend it. Everybody recommends this.
Do you need a license?
You don't. Well, you do and you don't with these. See, these radios are capable of doing all three. You can do the FSR frequencies, the GMRS frequencies, and the ham radio frequencies with this.
So if you're going to use that as a walkie-talkie, as you would this, you have to still make sure you're on the same frequency, right?
Yes. What you
Okay.
do is you can go online and they have the frequencies listed. So every radio every one of these radios, the channel 1 will have a frequency. Here you actually have to program it in. You can turn it on, and you have to type in the frequency that you want. Or there's these other programs you can do to download it. What I say about this is, if you're really into tech, go for it. Just remember, on these, you can only have like 2 watts. You can't go too high, for the FCC, and you don't need it. I mean, a couple watts really doesn't make that big difference. So you want to keep your watts down. They always sell these at like 10, but you can change that in the menu. But if you want one of these, you can buy one of these now, figure it out, and you can work your way up.
Did you add this antenna?
Yes.
See, this is a custom one. He added that.
Yeah, the antenna they come with. That's one thing that these are good for, is you can get a new antenna. They unscrew, and this is a nice little whip, they call it. See, it comes out. See, it looks like that. And these are a nice little whip, and this gets a lot better coverage because of this whip. And I really like that. They're kind of in the way, but they work better. This right here is what they call a rubber ducky. Because what these are, basically, I'm going to go deep in the weeds, but they're just a bunch of wires that give the length of the antenna, but they're all compact in here. So, but still, I recommend this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is a great
to start.
Great one to start. Drive. I mean, even on the weekend, you and your wife, or you and the kids can go in separate cars, and just test them out. Drive a block around. You go one way, he goes one way, and just try them out. See how you like them. Make sure you're on the same frequency, and you can start using them. Very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one takes practice. I do not know how to use it.
She can talk into it, though.
Yeah, and I also have my hand radio license.
Yeah, well, it's not it's for the GMRS, which we'll go over next
on our next video.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could talk on this as long as we set it to the same frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah, using it for that way. That basically for using just the same frequency. It's easy. It's when you get technical and do all this stuff, it's just a learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
But keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple.
It's easier just to buy one of these.
Yeah.
The thing is, you'll have to buy one of these, then you have to buy a GMRS, and then you'll have to buy a ham. But
do that first. You don't need to do the GMRS right now.
Yeah. There's no reason to get a license yet. No. I don't think. And that's where I'll get beat up by other hams, because other hams will say, "Oh, you have to have a ham radio license." Yeah, but then, the other thing too, we'll get into that. See, I'm going to go deep, but just a preview of the future. When I go do my next video on this, is the GMRS radio takes a different license than a ham radio license. As a ham radio, I had to get another license to get the GRMS anyway. So,
He has tons of licenses.
Yeah, I have a lot of licenses. So, my thoughts. And you can watch other videos, do your research, find out what you want. But I suggest just get a simple radio to start, because then you have it in your hand right away. No thinking, no work.
Just add the batteries.
What
is this? What brand is this again? I'm sorry.
This is the Cobra. You know the old CBs, breaker 19, breaker 19, breaker for that rubber duck. Yeah, that guy. I was really into those when I was young. But
and it continues.
But I'm not gonna talk about CBs. But the Cobra, here it is. These are really nice. They're good, sturdy radios.
Yeah.
Even if you can't afford one of these, just get the baby little ones with little Donald Duckies or whatever for the kids' work. They still transmit. They still receive. You can still use them. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You don't smoke signals don't work. It's better than nothing. And that's why I say get this. Don't try to start off high. Just get simple. Keep it simple.
It's very easy to use, very simple, and you'll get the hang of it. Yeah.
Yep.
And you won't be intimidated.
No, you won't be intimidated.
Yeah.
Yeah, because little kids talk on these all the time. Our grandkids talk on these. Yep. So you know, I didn't want to go too long here, so I think we basically got this down. So next you'll see our video on the GRMS radios. I'll go into those and the pros and cons of those. But for now, I'll leave you with the FRS radio.
Family Service Radio.
Family Service Radio. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.